Hey, good day, YouTube family. It's your boy, Valentin. You are on the market with Val. I want to speak to you guys about becoming a real estate agent, okay? If real estate is the right career for you, okay? So if you are considering if real estate is the right career with you, you have to know what's your why. Why do you want to get into real estate? Why do you want to pursue it as a career, okay? If your answer is because I want to make a lot of money, you're going to have issues very early because most real estate agents don't make a lot of money in their first year. A lot of times you may have to be on a team, and better believe your brokerage is going to take their percentage. Your team leader is going to take their percentage. If there are any franchise fees, transaction fees, you're not going to see a lot of money. And most new agents fail within the first year. Me, I've been fortunate enough, blessed enough to be in the industry since 2006. My first realtor, I worked for a brokerage that's still around. It's a great agency called Showcase Realty NYC out in New York City in Forest Hills. And the first thing that my broker told me when I came on board was this: two things to always remember. Every year, real estate changes. And everything that you know about a job, forget about it. Real estate is the exact opposite. If you don't sell, you don't make money. So that 9-to-5 mentality is out the door. And a year and a half later, the market crashed. I went from doing sales to rentals, learned the rental market. But that's a reality. Things change in real estate all the time. And if you're not willing to adapt, and if you're not willing to put the work in that's required to be successful, you won't be successful and you'll be out the game really quick. So people all the time, when they tell me, oh, I want to become a real estate agent, or I want to, learn about real estate and take my license, I always ask them, well, what's your why? And I've interviewed a lot of people coming on board who are recently licensed. And, I used to recruit for other agencies when I was with other agencies. And I would say, well, why do you want to become a real estate agent? Why are you getting into this business? And the reality, some of them don't even know. They're just trying different careers. This is a career where you have to be committed and not just interested, because there's a big difference between being interested in something and being committed to something. And the results are going to show. And that's just the reality. If you're not willing to work long hours, if you're not willing to work weekends, if you're not willing to be available when the phone rings to go out there and show the same day if possible, there's always someone who's going to outwork you. The one who's successful is the one who outworks everybody else. The one who spends a little bit more money on advertising. The one who talks to everybody. That's another thing. I see a lot of people come into business with lack of personality. If you're not, it's definitely not a good business for so-called introverts. If you're a person who's not outspoken, if you're a person who's not talking to everybody all the time, then you're not going to be successful. You have to be aggressive, but also not too aggressive. You got to know the balance. But the reality is you have to know what's your why. Me, for instance, share a little bit of my story. When I grew up, my family, I had a good family, but we weren't the richest. We moved around a lot. I remember losing the house when I was very young. Maybe 6 or 7 years old. We had a house, and my dad had to sell the house. He couldn't afford it. And we moved on to apartment to apartment. Then I lived in the projects for a lot of years. And then we moved to low income housing. And I always remembered, I made myself a promise that one day I would be a homeowner. As an adult, I wouldn't be moving around, jumping around. I wanted more security for me and the people I love. I remember how it was moving around so much and not being so stable as far as where we lived. And, I made a promise to myself that I was going to be a homeowner. That was number one. So when I got into the business, I wanted to learn what the business was about, become a homeowner. I wanted to own multiple homes. And I felt like if I knew all about real estate, I'd be able to buy homes, right? So when I got into it, I had a goal too. I wanted to learn how to rent apartments, sell houses, become a listing agent. I saw it for the long run. Here's another jewel that I give everybody. I say, you should always start, whatever you're starting with, you should always have the long-term goal already in mind. Okay. And if something doesn't make sense in your future, it doesn't make sense in your present. And that's That's what I say too. If you don't know what the end goal is for your real estate career, maybe you should reconsider, what you're doing, because at the end of the day, those are the things that are going to keep you committed. Always remember why you started. If you don't know why you started, and if you don't know what your why is, why are you getting into real estate? Another thing for me is, my why's changed throughout the years. I went from wanting to learn the business, and I did learn the business, to I never realized the human element of selling houses, right? You're changing people's lives. You're making a renter into a homeowner. You're making a homeowner into an investor, right? You're taking a young couple and you're getting them their first house, right? And they're always going to remember you. This business is all about service. And if you're not a service orientated person, you won't last long. And if your goal is just to make a lot of money, I see a lot of agents who just want to be hotshot agents. I produce this. Who cares what you produce, right? That's only for yourself. How many lives did you change? My thing is, I see, and I don't knock them, because, people like accolades, right? Let your client give you the accolades, right? How many lives did you change in the process? How many of those people will call you back and recommend their family, their friend, their coworker? How many of your clients invite you to the housewarming party, or invite you to dinner, or call you back and say, you changed my life? That is a big deal for me. That should be one of the most important things if you're becoming a realtor. Everything else is procedural. Learning paperwork. There's certain things in real estate that you can't buy, and one of them is a character. One of them is integrity. One of them is ethics. It's not just, money affects everything that's important, but it's not always the most important thing in life or in a deal, right? And another thing is to always be learning, right? If you're coming up, real estate changes all the time. So if you're not willing to learn, when I started in real estate, all we had was Craigslist. There was no Zillow. There was no realtor.com. My first office I went in, they said, there's a book. You want to go look at what we have? Go look at what we have, learn it. And then when the phone calls come in, we'll send them your way, right? So, I was really boots on the ground, grassroots. I learned differently than a lot of agents do today. Today, they can pull something up on Zillow. All the information is there. The pictures are there, and they can go off of that. When I learned, it wasn't that easy. You had to go look at apartments. You weren't getting leads from phone calls from Zillow, right? You had to actually speak to people. You had to actually go out there and build relationships. And I believe, for me, that gave me an edge. I believe that you have to incorporate all the new trends, that will sharpen you, because you are competing in a new market. So you have to stay on top of all the new market trends. There's a lot of foundational elements that you should learn in real estate that will help you, right? Going out to look at the property first, right? Being very communicative, making a lot of relationships, right? There's a lot of, your advertising. There's a lot of things in real estate, a lot of basic fundamentals that if you apply them, you'll be able to beat the people, your competition, all right? At the end of the day, a lot of people, we're all trying to get the same listings. There's other agents in your market that are competing with you. What do you have that's different? I've got so many calls from people who are already working with agents, don't have anything signed. I have 1 or 2 conversations with them. They say, listen, I want to try you out. I say, well, did you sign anything with that agent? I don't want to, if you sign something with an agent, I don't want to, breach that. And they say, no, I'll handle it, because I want to deal with you. You listen, you get it. You get what I'm trying to do. They try to push me to what they think is right for me. You're listening to me, so I think I want to work with you on my next transaction. That person calls me, they're now my client. It's agent development. It's like artist development. You're an artist with your craft. It's artist development in real estate. I see a lot of agents, a lot of hotshot agents in the last 5 years. I don't knock their hustle, make your deals, but always remember, if you're not in this business to change lives, maybe you should consider another business. If you're only in it to make the money, that means the minute that hard times come aboard, you're going to abandon it because you're not making money. Like I said before, I went through the crash of 2009 and I stuck it out. When it got hard, I worked harder, and I was the only one making deals in the office. People wind up leaving because they weren't making deals, but they also weren't putting the effort, all right? Tough times don't last. tough people do. If you want to get into this real estate business, you know, and consider this as a career, you really have to ask yourself, why am I doing it? Okay, what's your long-term vision? What's your why? Because when things get rough, that's what's going to matter. That's what's going to remotivate you, knowing why you do it for. And one of the main things, I'll reiterate it, if you're not in the business to change lives, to learn and to change lives, you're probably in the wrong business. You are on the market with Val. Please subscribe, comment, like, send me emails, let me know topics that you want me to touch on. And again, thank you to all my subscribers. I'll keep putting out weekly content. Have a good day.